Hey guys peeps, and welcome back to Snail TV. It's exactly right guys, Go-Kart's back out. I need to get it out, I need to get back on the track. I do have the last piece of the puzzle. I'll just recap you on exactly where we've been at with this thing. Last time I was out, actually didn't break anything, but I've bent all the teeth on the rear sprocket. Time before that, we smashed the sprocket on the actual engine side. So new one of those, but now we're actually bending the teeth on the rear sprocket, so that's where we're up to. Look, we're getting it fixed, we're getting it happening. I just thought it just has to happen. So Civic's going well, everything's going well with that, with the parts and stuff like that, so pretty much, you know, I'm ready to take all that apart. Thought next best thing is obviously getting this thing back up and running and working. Back up and running as in starting it up. Haven't started in like, I don't know, the last time it was out. So we'll do a cold start for you now. Might take a couple of tries because it hasn't got a throttle, hasn't got a idle control valve on it. So I might take a couple of shots to try to start her up. And the fuel in this thing, it's the 85, but she's pretty old. So if it wants to run, it wants to run. We'll start her up. I want to go through everything as well for you. And yeah, we'll go from that. And actually, you know, next couple of weeks, we'll actually get this thing out. And yeah, we'll actually do some cool stuff with it, hopefully. So I've got to get that rear sprocket first. That's my number one thing on the list. And yeah, we'll go from there. So look, I'll get you to come around. We'll have a quick look at the vitals on the fuel tech. I'll show you everything of what this is running. And yeah, we'll go from that. All right, guys. So first start of the puzzle, just making sure everything's all, you know, still there and no one's touched anything. I've had customers touch it all and whatnot. So just making sure that everything was all still there. Actually still got some fuel in there, which is okay. But look, I'll go through a couple of things of just what it's running at the moment. Fuel tech wise, we are running the whole thing on all fuel tech. Do have, yeah, everything. We'll try, you know, I don't have the catalog on it, but I'll try to put as much stuff on this thing as possible, only because it's going to be, yeah, this thing's pretty rowdy. So come back over here on the start. So the ignition system's all up here. So we've got Spark Pro doing the actual dumb coils on the for the ignition system itself. And to read individual exhaust temps, we do actually have the EGT4s. So what they do is read the engine exhaust temperatures on each cylinder, just so, because this thing's compound turbo, we only really have after both turbos on the O2. So without that, we only have after both turbos on the exhaust gas. So if you guys didn't really know, if you want me to recap, this thing is compound turbo. So there's a G30 on the actual engine itself, and then that's compounding into a G40 1150 up front. So it's pretty big, it's pretty hectic, but it actually works. There's like minimum lag in this thing. It wants to be rowdy. So I'm super happy with how it's actually turned out to be. This is actually one of my first compound builds that I've actually ever done, and like it all just works. So I'm actually super wrapped with it. So yeah. So anyway, so that's the ignition system. That's what the Spark Pro 4 fires the dumb coils. And then going back on the actual control system itself, I'll turn it on. And we'll go from there. All right, so coming from the front here, guys, we've got the fuel tech. This is a 550. This will pretty much does everything. I've got a few outputs as well still left, and I've got a few inputs still left. Not everything, but you can pretty much test. You can pretty much see all the inputs that I've got happening in there. As much as like engine coolant temp, fuel pressure, oil pressure, throttle control. It's got gear sensor, obviously speed, all that stuff as well, but also ride height sensor. We've got a ride height sensor at the front. What that does is detect if it actually wants to start lifting. Never want to put the wheelie bars in this thing, only just for a pure instances. It's going to be massive, and I don't want that. Then going back down to wastegate pressure. So this thing runs CO2 boost, air controlled boost. And so we've got wastegate pressure as well, intake temperature as well, and yeah, we've got pretty much as what we can on it. And then we'll go back, and you can just see all the blue outputs, and there's everything we're actually is doing. So on the motorbikes, what I like to do, as you can see up top here, we only got cylinder 1 and cylinder 2. What that actually is doing is batch firing it. motorbikes love to be batch fired. They actually, look, they don't always, but they tend to kind of make a little bit more power when you actually batch fire motorbike engines. They just love it with the high RPM. What that's doing for me is actually gives me a few more outputs. As you can see, I've got 9, 10, 11, and 12. And what that is actually still available for me on the 550. As you can see, I've got the outputs there. I can use them, so I can actually make them running sequential. But from the man himself, he always likes to say, on the motorbike, these motorbike engines, you can get away with batch firing them only just because they actually tend to run a little bit better, and actually sometimes actually do make some more horsepower when you're actually batch firing it. So they just, they love it. So on the blues and then on the greys, that's your ignitions. So as you can see, same thing on 1 and 2. That's all I'm running is batch firing it as well, exactly the same thing. And I've got a few outputs as well. So I theoretically could have ran on a FT450 on this model, but I wouldn't have had enough inputs as such of all the sensors that I'm running and whatnot. But yeah, look, it does an awesome job, and obviously a lot of it is actually communicating through CAN. So the EGTs at the rear, that communicates through CAN, so that's only a 2-wire system. That's got nothing to do with your inputs and outputs. And also the O2 sensor, that all is communicated through CAN as well. So then, as I said, we can go over here, we've got a little touch panel over here as well. And what we can do here is, you'll hear the relay when it's charged full of air. You'll actually see this thing, the actual shifter itself shift, but it's nothing's got, it's got nothing in it at the moment. But yeah, so we can have up to I think it's 5 screens on this menu. So you can do a few things actually. But the coolest thing I love to do is actually put the start button on the actual on there as well, so you don't actually have an external button, all that stuff. There's actually one only external button that I do actually have on this thing, and that thing is actually on my shifter, and that's the 3-step. So that's a rolling anti-lag. So I built this kind of thing for roll racing. If there was a chance that I'm going to go down there. So you're actually holding onto that button. Also, that's a 2-step button as well, so you can hold it and adjust it for 2-step as well. So it depends on what mode I put it on, what a drag mode or the actual roll racing mode. So yeah, but they're just a few things that this thing can do. So, and then apart from that, I've got a USB out on the front, and what that does is communicate through via the laptop, so I don't have to get to the back of the ECU itself. Seriously, apart from that, the actual electronics itself, everything's all all pretty simple as such. Yeah, everything was all pretty much everything. This whole thing actually runs through the fuel tech. So as I said, start, and yeah, it controls everything, the fans and all that stuff. Look, we'll start her up now, let it get up some temp, and you'll see some stuff happening. I'll probably keep it up until the fans go on, and just so you can see everything working and the turbo spinning and whatnot. So we'll make it look cool. Let's see if this thing fires up.
Alright guys, so going to be a bit loud here, but as you can see, everything's running. Actually started up first, pretty much almost first pop actually. yeah, look, everything else is looking pretty good. She's still pretty cold. She's only on 46 coolant temp. As you can see, it just actually, it works. It runs. I was super surprised that, yeah, look, I do actually have oil running all the way to the front, and but I actually have a pump pumping it back. So it's a big, as I said, it would have been a lot nicer getting a oilless turbo at the front, but yeah, not with me, it wasn't the case. And yeah, you can see all the vitals there, guys. The fuel pressure, I haven't got that plugged in at the moment. I'll just see why it's not working. Yeah, you can see everything there. It's just making it all work. As long as we got oil pressure, we're all good. These high boosters have always got, you know, motorbike engines always got good oil pressure. Engine temp, you can see, as I said, I think I got fans coming on around about 80 degrees or so, and they're individual all EGTs. So you can see each exhaust gas of what it's actually reading. I think I got more on the next side. So ignition timing, what it's running. Wastegate pressure, we got nothing on the dome there, we got nothing. And that's what's geared. Look, I'd put it in a gear right now, but this thing would go forward, so it's not something I would want to do. Look, you can pretty much see everything else. You can see RPM as well, I got like a mini RPM there. Yeah, I've got the burnout mode there. What the burnout mode does is actually, down here, we've actually got a solenoid for the brake lockout, so this locks out the back brakes, so it's easy to do burnout. So you hold that button, it actually holds that, and what that does, actually, we can actually tell it how much timing we want as well, on for burnout mode as well. But yeah, no, look, I love this thing running. It sounds awesome. It's not as loud as my other high booster, the one that I had before, hence because we have got 2 turbos on this thing. But it actually still sounds mental, so super happy. And as you can see by there, the 2-step button, we're going to go to timing. You'll see the timing when I hit it. Alright, it goes to -5. So that's how much timing I've got going when this thing here runs. We'll get up a little bit of temp. Look, I'll give it a hit and we'll show you on the 2-step of how it sounds. Alright guys, we've got a bit of heat into it now, coming up to when the end of the fans are coming on. Let's give it a quick 2-step, see how it sounds. Look, it's not an aggressive 2-step at all, but yeah, we'll see if we can get any flamage or anything like that coming out. So we're definitely getting some boost off the line, which is awesome. Yeah, no, look, this thing's super wrapped. Sounds awesome. I'm pretty sure coolant fans turn on around about 80, 85, I can't remember. Just want to give it a full heat cycle, just to make sure everything works. Alright guys, fans have just come on. At 93 degrees they come on. You'll see it jump up to around about 94, just over, then it'll back down. There it goes, comes back down now. And to cool this thing, all I've got is twin 8-inch fans on both sides. So on either side, there's a Gokart radiator. That's all they are. And yeah, an 8-inch fan on either one. And yeah, this thing, it works so well. All dash 12, I'm pretty sure. Dash 12 fittings everywhere. But yeah, look, it's been awesome. Fans are turned off already. And yeah, look, that's how we go.
All right, guys, well, there you go. Look, I just wanted to get it running back again. Well, just make sure it starts. It actually started pretty much, I think it was like second pop. So the one that you've seen was literally the second pop. So, but yeah, look, it started up first go. Cold start's actually pretty decent on it. I actually got the revs are pretty high. They're in about like 1400. That's just where motorbikes like to idle. They run a little bit more than what a car runs. As I said, this thing scares the shit out of me as well at the same time. Look, there's only so much you can, so much safety you can actually put on these things. But as I said though, look, with the ride height sensor and a couple of other bits and pieces on the thing, you seem pretty confident in it as well. So it's pretty much just the G-forces that it pulls you back. It'd be awesome to get a draggy and put a draggy on this thing and see what it can do in, 0 to hundreds and 100 and 200. And whatnot, or how many G's it pulls. It's got a G meter on it. I actually can see what sort of G's it actually pulls on the fuel tech. So it'd be actually good just to get that data log as well, to see if we can get some sort of G's out of it. I thought it'd be awesome just to get this thing running. As I said, it starts up pretty much first go. Lithium battery, never have a problem with that now. I've actually learned over my years of doing all these things of like literally what to do and what to get, just so then things actually work. That look, apart from the fuel tech, now it literally every time that you go to start it actually works. That's what the fuel tech's there for. But as much as that is such a big of a part, also other bits and pieces make everything a lot better as well. As I said, batteries. I used to go through so many batteries on these things. It just it kills them. And turning them over a lot. Aftermarket ECUs love these things to turn over faster. So for more information, if you don't have the voltage there, then yeah, it's not going to happen. So unfortunately, yeah, look, the best thing of doing it is just getting a go straight to lithium, and it holds the charge, holds the battery power there. And yeah, these things crank over so super easy, super awesome. Hope you like, guys. Look, I want to see exactly where you think I should go out in this thing. Look, I know roll racing is definitely number one. What you want me to go out to, Talon Bend, do something like cool around the track or something like that, to organise something out there. Port Gawler is pretty much sort of a no, but only because the thing's so big and it sort of doesn't really turn. It's almost like it needs to just go straight. As I said, the turning on this thing is not that good, only because of the big slicks on the rear. Said, let me know, give me some comments, I'll see what you reckon. Let me know what one you think's better. I did just repost another one of my old go-kart. And yeah, you guys tell me what one you think's better. Look, I'm more in love with this thing. This thing's just so much cooler. My other go-kart was awesome, as I said. But as I said, with the small wheels and whatnot, it didn't pull you back as such. You had to do like a real good burnout at the time. And then even then, you still got wheel spin. So this thing sort of doesn't get wheel spin. It hooks up traction. I'm starting to break things that I never broke in my last go-kart. And so what that's telling me is obviously this thing is actually gripping up a lot more than what my last one did. So, and obviously this thing makes a lot more power than the other one. So yeah, look, there it is, guys. As I said, that's the information about this thing. Going from turbo size wise, people don't realize it actually is compound turbo with the rear turbo and then the front turbo. But yeah, look, it actually works so well. You can see the front turbo spooling, it's not spooling as such. On two-step it is, but on normal idling. But it actually does push it. There's cars out there that actually doesn't even spin turbochargers as well. So yeah, look, super stoked of how it is, and yeah, we'll get it out. So next couple of weeks, put some links, like if you got a place somewhere that we can go, that'd be awesome to get out. I really need to get this thing back out. Fix that rear sprocket, get back out. So that'd be super awesome. Until then, guys, I'll leave it at that. Look, next episode's going to be about the Civic. I really want to get pretty much Civic finished up. The go-kart is pretty much on my mind as well of getting this thing rolling. So yeah, that's gonna be awesome. So until then, guys, thanks very much, and I'll see you on the next episode. See you, peeps.